Good evening, Tallahassee. I'm student meteorologist Jonathan Marcus with a live look over Doak Campbell Stadium. You'll notice the beautiful sunlight we have outside today. It's been nice and sunny all day. Moving on to satellite and radar, you don't have anything there except for a few isolated thunder showers over the I-75 corridor. There's really not much there. Zooming out on the big picture, not much going on nationwide if I'm being honest. There is a stalled front off the coast that could produce some scattered showers here tomorrow. Tonight it is going to be nice and clear at a 70 degrees, partly cloudy. It's going to be beautiful outside. Coming up later on in the show, we have slight thunderstorm chances through Wednesday, our next round of sunny days, and we're still in those 90s, so we're still feeling those warm summer-like conditions. FSU weather starts now.
Good evening and welcome to FSU Weather. I'm student meteorologist Ariana Goldstein.
I'm student meteorologist Michael Onnen.
Welcome on this wonderful Tuesday night, actually. It's been a beautiful day and a beautiful start to the week here.
Yeah.
Or a mostly beautiful start to the week, actually. Not so much yesterday, but today was much better.
A little more sunshine today, so it actually warmed up a little bit more compared to the last 2 days. But it still feels much warmer than it should be for October.
Yeah, it's not really feeling like fall. Not at all. Not even gonna lie, it's not. It's not.
I'm telling you, like we've gone to the beach over the last few weekends and might be going to the beach again this weekend given how warm it is.
I think it's still going to be pretty warm, honestly.
Yeah.
With these patterns, it's just 90s. Maybe not mid-90s now, but we're still hitting 90 degrees in early October.
Right around 90 degrees, and our daily records for this time of year are around the mid-90s, but then as we head towards the middle part of October, those daily records are 90,
But it's not really looking like it's coming anytime soon, honestly. Like, we had that little cold front move through our area today, but it's not really, it's a relief from 97, but you can really see it in those low temperatures mostly.
Yeah, see what these cold fronts have really been doing is kind of chipping away at the heat, but they're not really providing rainfall also. We really do need the rain out there. Actually, just about an hour ago, I just saw that Franklin County down toward the coastline issued a burn ban. That's how dry it's been across our area. So
that's crazy. Yeah, we need that rain. But it's nice outside at least. That humidity, we can kiss that humidity goodbye for right now. But we're actually going to send it out to Jonathan and talk about the southeast a little bit.
Thanks, Ariana. So looking across the southeast, we are very warm. You will notice there is a cool spot back at home in Huntsville, Alabama in the Tennessee Valley. That's where I'm from. If you're from around there and you're watching, enjoy those cool temperatures. Meanwhile, we are still sweltering in those 90s here in Tallahassee. It's 91 in Tallahassee. It's a little bit cooler as you get further south in Florida, where you do have some cloud cover and thunderstorms today. We'll get to more on that later. Looking at the dew points, you have those tropical dew points in the 70s across Florida, where the cold front hasn't exactly passed through yet, whereas notice if you look through Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi, Louisiana, those dew points are in the 60s and even the 50s, 38 in Little Rock. So this heat that we're feeling across the southeast is more of a dry heat as to what we've been used to over the summer, and that is good in terms of what it feels like outside. Notice in Jackson, Mississippi, it feels like 81, 75 in Little Rock. Those are very comfortable temperatures. Whereas in Florida, we have 84 down in Miami, 85 in Orlando, 91 here in Tallahassee. Tallahassee, we are the hot spot on the map tonight. It is hot outside. Make sure you're staying hydrated. Make sure you are keeping sunscreen on. Make sure you're still in those summertime conditions. Winds, we don't have much going on, especially in Montgomery. We do have that cold front that moved through, which means we have some winds driving in from the north, but that does mean that it is more of a dry wind. So we don't necessarily have the severe weather and thunderstorms typically associated with a cold front. It is a weaker type cold front as indicated by these lower wind speeds. Once again, as I mentioned earlier, on the satellite and radar, we do not have that much going on nationwide. We have a high pressure system over Denver, another high pressure system over the northeast. Of note is this stalled cold front we have down here just to the south of Tallahassee that's going to introduce some scattered thunderstorm chances in our forecast tomorrow. And then notice we have that low pressure off the coast. That isn't going to do much impacts to the United States, but the National Hurricane Center is monitoring that at the moment. Next 48 hours, you'll notice we do have that little spin off the coast behind me, but over Tallahassee, we don't have much going on. Tonight's forecast, 70 degrees in Tallahassee. It's going to be 56 up in Tupelo, 61 in Jackson. Just comfortable temperatures outside. We're starting to get into that fall season. It's going to feel much better than it has. And then tomorrow's forecast, once again, we aren't even going to hit 90 tomorrow, which compared to what we went through last week, that is huge. It's going to feel very good outside. And then FSU versus Clemson, our big football game. Our football team is headed to Death Valley. It's going to be hot, 90 degrees, mix of sun and clouds. So I wonder what our football team has been practicing in this week. And in order to get more into that, I'm going to go ahead and pass things off to Michael to do a local.
Yeah, thanks, Jonathan. It's actually not bad outside, and it won't be that bad for a Clemson game. At least the humidity is going to be pretty low. But we'll take a look at what's happening at Cascades, and compared to yesterday, a little bit more sunshine out there, and with that more sunshine and a little less cloud cover, temperatures were able to heat up a little more compared to the last few days. Last 2 days, we've only been in the mid to upper 80s. Today, we got into those low 90s once again. You can notice this very defined boundary between drier air and less cloud cover, and a lot of this more cloud cover and a little shower activity down towards the I-75 corridor, and that's that stalled out boundary, which is slowly moving south, and that's allowing the dry air to filter in, which will give us those cooler daytime lows, but also allow those highs to be much warmer these next few days, well above average for this time of year. So you can see the stalled out boundary once again. We also have this developing low pressure system, which is going to impact the northeast into the middle part of the week and the end part of the week. We'll talk about that in the national. And we also have this developing blizzard and snowstorm due to low pressure up in the northwest. We'll talk about that also later in the national. But locally, pretty good conditions out there with the mix of sun and clouds here in Tallahassee, around 91 degrees at 6 o'clock hour. And those dew points are now lowering. You can see that dry air starting to filter in behind that stationary boundary. So lower dew points into Georgia and around the border of Florida and Georgia, with those dew points of lower 60s, but then down towards Perry, you're close to that boundary, as well as in Apalachicola. So their dew points are a little bit closer to around 70, so a little bit more muggy out there. You can notice with the heat indexes, pretty close to your air temperature because those dew points are lower as well. Now for next 24 hours, with that less cloud cover and that dry air, the temperatures will cool down to around 70 degrees. Pretty nice night out there. And then tomorrow, not really much of a rain chance. Pretty similar to today. If you do get an isolated shower, it's mainly going to be down towards the Cross City and down towards the I-75 corridor. But again, pretty dry compared to today here in the Big Bend region. Now for tonight, your temperature is going to be around 70 degrees with those partly cloudy skies. And then for tomorrow, with that drier air and maybe a slight chance of a shower and thunderstorm, again, more towards Perry and Cross City had that 20% chance of a shower or thunderstorm. Temperatures right around 90 degrees. We're going to go with 89. And your 7-day forecast shows you the temperatures do warm up a little bit as that drier air starts to build in and then more sunshine as well. And then we might get a slight chance of a shower on Saturday. It's a little still uncertain, but this boundary is looking to be fizzling once it gets to our area on Saturday. But the temperature is sticking around 90 degrees, which is well above normal for this time of year and not really feeling like fall. But for now, we're going to send it back to the desk with Jonathan, and we were mentioning about the snowstorm. Well, we're actually going to talk about the tropics as well, because we have a pretty intense typhoon out towards the Western Pacific.
Yeah, and so looking more on a local scale, I mentioned during my southeast that we do have that system off the coast. And I know it's still hurricane season, so at this time of year, hurricanes are still a little bit concerning.
Yeah.
It was a year ago to the day that Florida State did shut down as a result of Hurricane Michael, and evacuations in this area began. But we're not necessarily looking at anything like that right now, right?
Yeah, it's mainly what we're watching right now in the Atlantic is we have this disturbance right around the Georgia coastline and North Florida coastline, out towards the Atlantic coastline. And it has around a 50% chance of developing. There's also another area of low pressure in North Carolina, and what they're really doing is, in a sense, merging and going to form this coastal low up towards, it's like a pseudo-nor'easter up towards New England and the mid-Atlantic as we head towards the middle part and the latter end of the work week.
Yeah, so that system isn't necessarily going to do that much, but worth noting is this super typhoon that we have going on in the Western Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
That thing exploded like a bomb over the weekend. It went from a tropical depression all the way to a Category 5 super typhoon in just 48 hours. So that is one of the most rapid intensifications we've ever seen in any tropical system.
Yeah, and
that is insane.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. You can see with these intense typhoons and also with these intense hurricanes, you get these eye wall replacement cycles. And if you're noticing the satellite imagery from earlier today, you notice how the smaller eye started to contract and then the larger eye contracted and really choked out that smaller eye, really expanding that wind field. So the eye wall replacement cycles in these storms are pretty interesting, and that really expands the wind field of the typhoon. So even though it's a little bit weaker in terms of max winds, its wind field is much bigger and impacting a larger area.
Yeah, and so we're actually going to go ahead and go back to the national forecast with you, right?
And a lot of interesting things going on. You know, when we get to the fall season, it's very interesting how you notice we have this clashing of two seasons in a sense. If you're up towards the northwest, it's going to get really cold and very snowy over the next few days. Meanwhile, we have some tropical activity going on out towards the Atlantic. But right now, you can see cooler up towards the northeast because we have that northeasterly flow. Northeasterly flow is a little bit cooler for the northeast this time of year. So temperatures only in the low to mid 60s up there. We do have the stalled out boundary out towards the central part of Florida. So a little bit cooler where you have the rain in central Florida. But then we still have some heat down towards South Florida and North Florida in our neck of the woods with 91 in Tallahassee. Now you can start to notice the cooler air in Seattle. And this is the beginning of a low pressure system that's going to really deepen in the center part of the country as we head over to the next few days. Expecting a lot of snow in the northern plains as well as some blizzard conditions as well. And you're going to see that in the future cast in just a few minutes. And also notice ahead of that stalled out boundary, a lot of moisture in Florida with dew points in the 70s, so a little bit more humid there. But the rest of the country, pretty dry with the exception of the southeast. A little bit humid, but not extremely humid overall. So it feels like temperatures are much warmer than the air temperature down towards Florida, but they're pretty close to what your air temperature actually is for the rest of the country. The satellite and radar does show you the stalled out boundary, pretty weak right now, causing a few showers down towards central and south Florida. We have some wraparound moisture behind the frontal system in the southern Appalachians, and also that's due to the lift caused by those Appalachian Mountains. And then we have the developing coastal low down towards the Carolinas and Georgia coastline, which will really give some rain out towards the coastal sections of the Northeast going into the latter part of the work week. We also have this low pressure system out towards Billings, and that's going to really develop into a very strong low. And for a result, with the colder air filtering behind it, have some winter storm watches and warnings. In effect, warnings meaning that it's imminent and watches meaning being prepared for it. We also have a lot of fire weather watches and warnings due to the windy conditions due to the deepening low pressure system. You can see the beginning stages with some valley rain and some mountain snow, with some snow developing in Great Falls. And then we also have this low pressure system down towards New Mexico causing some intense thunderstorms down there. We also have the moisture behind the front down towards the east coast, and also with the lift of the Appalachian Mountain, that helps to create some of those clouds and moisture as well. Now for the next 24 hours, notice your eyes up towards Billings. See how this low pressure system really develops, the snow starts to build in, and watch how the snow really builds into coverage over Billings over the next few hours and into tomorrow. And that's going to really drop the temperatures as well. Notice the pretty defined difference between those warmer temperatures and cooler temperatures up towards the northern plains. And you can start to really notice it tomorrow with those temperatures. 78 in Denver, but then you make the drive up to Wyoming, you're in the 30s. So a pretty interesting difference, and shows you how we are transitioning towards the winter months. Now let's send it off to Jonathan with a look back into Tallahassee.
So we have been mentioning how it is sort of turning into fall, and notice on this almanac that we are below our record, which last week when we were looking at the almanac, we were above our record for a solid, I think it was 4 days straight that we had beaten our record. We weren't even close today. 2 degrees lower than normal. I mean, we're a little bit warmer than normal, but we are below record, and that is a big thing after last week. So as I said, We are at 91 degrees right now. It's a little bit cooler down by the coast, a little bit warmer up to the north, which is what we expected after that cold front did come and move through yesterday. But the dew point is the big talking point today because it is a drier heat than what we're used to. It is only 61 dew point in Tallahassee right now, which means it's a little bit, it doesn't feel as muggy, it doesn't feel like soup when you're stepping outside, which is a huge thing given how just tropical and hot and sticky and gross it's felt outside for the past months. So heat index is the exact same as the temperature right now, which means it doesn't feel that bad outside. Wind speed, we do have a little bit of a breeze coming from the north. That is a result of the stalled front that we have down here. But that means that we just have a little breeze to cool us off, nothing potent. Airport delays, you have nothing going on there. If you're going to Tallahassee International tonight, you can expect no delays. Your flight should definitely take off on time. That is a good thing. We all hate being stuck in airport traffic. Looking on the satellite and radar, you don't have much going on except for a few thunder showers on the I-75 corridor. Those aren't doing much. It's just your typical summertime transitioning into fall pop-up thunderstorms. There's not that much really going on satellite and radar. And the same is true for the national picture. You have high pressure systems over Denver, over the plains, and over the northeast. And you have this stalled front down here. And other than that, other than the developing system over Billings, Montana and the northern plains, there's not that much going on, which is a good thing because we don't always want to have that intense weather systems that are causing death and destruction of property. Those aren't good things. So we are going to go ahead and enjoy the nice calm conditions we have going on right now. And speaking of calm, tonight in Tallahassee, it's going to be very calm. It's going to feel beautiful outside, 70 degrees, clear. It's going to be pretty much the same around the whole area. I think the coolest temperature is going to be up in Thomasville at 66. Down on the coast, it's going to be a little bit warmer. That feels great outside. I'm probably going to go take a walk around my neighborhood when I get home. Tomorrow's forecast is going to be a little bit cooler than it was today, 89, a little bit cooler down by the coast. We're pretty much in the high 80s, which is a little bit warmer than normal for this time of year, but I'll take it. 7-day forecast, we do have that chance of thunderstorms that I mentioned tomorrow as a result of that stall front, but for the rest of the week, it's pretty much going to be dry. And I'm going to go ahead and transition to Ariana, who's going to give us a look at Colorado.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jonathan. We're taking a little move from Tallahassee and we're going to Colorado, where I was this summer. Love me some Colorado. We're going to take a look at their weather that's going on right now. You can see those temperatures are actually, they're not so similar, but they're pretty warm, just like we are right here. Denver, you're sitting at a nice 78. Aspen up in the mountains, you're sitting at a nice 68, which is pretty warm for that high elevation, actually, for that mile-high city. And if you look at those dew points, this is very interesting, actually. You can see Denver is sitting at a dew point of 3 and Aspen at 12. Those are very low dew points. And right now they're under that red flag warning because of those low dew points, which means that the wind is high, the temperatures are high, and the dew points are low, making the land very prominent to wildfires. So it's very important if you're going camping right now, make sure you put out your fires because wildfires are very prone right now because of that dry and hot air. And you can see that wind speed too. It's at 12 in Aspen and 6 in Denver, so it's not too high, but it is still pretty gusty outside, and you'll really feel that breeze if you step outside. It is beautiful, though, and it's very dry air. You can see, though, why it's so dry, because that high pressure system is just sitting right over Denver right now, making those air conditions very dry, cloud-free, beautiful, actually, a perfect fall day. But you can see that low front sitting right behind it. That's going to bring some weather to Denver onto Thursday, which we will talk about in a few seconds. But right now, we're focusing right now on Denver, right now on that satellite and radar. I could say right now one more time. We'll see about that. But nothing is really going on. No clouds. It's a beautiful day in Denver. Beautiful fall day. People probably brought out their sweaters for the early morning. Got to take them off when it reached 78 later in the afternoon. For tonight, though, in Denver, dipping down to 47. That's pretty normal for this time of year and for this area because of that high altitude. It gets very cold at night, even though it is hot during the day. That is pretty normal. But what I said before, looking at that 3-day, we see 78 tomorrow, beautiful. Thursday, we see 34 degrees as the high, that 40-degree temperature difference. We saw that low pressure system sitting right behind that high pressure system. That is going to be bringing lots of snow to Denver. So this transition is crazy. We don't see that in Florida. And then Friday, it's just going to be dipping back up to 46. So this is the big picture story for the West right now. You're going to be seeing a lot more about this throughout the week. But you can expect some snow in Denver onto Thursday. And But for tomorrow, it's going to be beautiful. And right now, I'm going to give it to Michael, and we're actually going to go back to Florida.
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. Let's go from the what's soon to be cold and snowy Colorado mountains to a very tropical, warm, and still summer-like Florida. You can see very nice sunset about to happen over the Panama City campus, the FSU Panama City campus. Very nice conditions out there, and a very nice day across the Panhandle overall, where you see temperatures right around the 90-degree mark, 90 in Pensacola, 91 in Tallahassee. A little cooler conditions out towards north central Florida because we had that stalled out boundary causing that shower and thunderstorm activity. So temperatures in the middle 70s in Gainesville and upper 70s in Jacksonville. And then a little bit warmer down towards southern Florida with temperatures in the mid to upper 80s. Now the dew points, you can notice the sharp difference between the lower dew points and the higher dew points, and that's where that boundary is currently located. Ahead of it, dew points in the 70s, but then behind it, especially in Tallahassee, dew points in the low 60s. So the air is a little bit more crisp there. Meanwhile, if you go down towards the peninsula, a little bit more tropical and juicy air in a sense. Your heat index actually shows you why it's a little bit hotter than it actually is down towards Fort Myers because of those higher dew points. Meanwhile, the temperatures are pretty close to your air temperature up towards the northern part of the state just because of that dry air, or the air is rain-cooled due to those showers and thunderstorm activity. Now, the shower and thunderstorm activity, again, due to that stalled-out boundary, which is slowly seeping towards the south, and that dry air will filter in for the central part of the state as we go into the course of tomorrow. But meanwhile, you can see those shower and thunderstorms, again, well ahead of the actual front. A lot of shower and thunderstorm activity along the I-4 corridor and down towards Miami and Key West. Now, for the next 24 hours, notice how the stalled-out boundary tries to move down south, but doesn't really make it that far south, and the cloud cover and rain coverage sticks around for the central and southern portion of the state. Meanwhile, across the northern part, where we desperately do need the rainfall, it is going to be drier, but that drier air heats up a little bit more quickly, so temperatures are going to be warmer compared to the central and southern portion of the state. So you notice that with tonight's forecast, cooler temperatures across the northern part, with temperatures around the middle 70s down towards central and southern Florida. And then tomorrow with that dry air, temperatures closer to 90 in the Panhandle. And then with the cloud cover and the rain down towards central and southern Florida, temperatures into the low to mid 80s. Definitely not feeling like fall, and let's hope it feels like fall because I really love pumpkin patches. Now let's go back to Ariana with the look into Tallahassee.
All right, Michael, thank you so much. I know we have some good places to go pick pumpkins in Tallahassee. I don't know if there's any pumpkin patches near Tallahassee. I know there's one in Bainbridge, but if you want to go picking a pumpkin at like a local church or something, right now it's 91 degrees and you got a good mix of those sun and clouds currently in the area. If you take a look, if we could move this, you could see this beautiful sun setting behind Doak. I watched that sunset last night. We had all those clouds. It was a beautiful sunset, and I expect the same for tonight. So around 7:15, go out and watch that beautiful sunset. And that temperature pretty much right now around the area is high 80s, low 90s, 91 in Tallahassee. Like I said, Quincy, you're sitting at 88, Apalachicola down there in the south. You're getting that sea breeze. So you're feeling a little bit cooler than we are up here. You may be a little more humid, though. And those dew points, like Michael said, you could see that boundary right here. This is where that stalled out cold front is, basically right here. You can see 68 in Perry. And then if you move back to us, you can see those light greens with those lower dew points, making that air feel much more dry because that cold front moved through our area earlier today, late yesterday. So that is making only good things for us, basically. Sun, cloudless skies, not a lot of rain, and dry air. So that has moved out of our area, making those dew points drop from the 70s to the 60s. Woohoo, no more humidity. And that heat index is sitting at that temperature because of that low humidity. So it is hot, but it's a dry heat. You're not going to be feeling all that moist air on your skin, feeling like you walked out of a bathtub. It is just dry heat. So make sure you wear some sunscreen and drink lots of water because you may not know you're dehydrated. And like you can see on that satellite and radar, though, that boundary right here, this is that cold front that moved through our area. You can see those clouds and that rain scatter on the southeast, and our area is perfectly clear. Yay, that's awesome. We don't need, or we do need the rain, but I don't really want rain, honestly, right now. I love that sun. And you can see it if you take a look. You can see that front. We've been pointing it out all throughout the show. It has moved throughout our area. It is gone, and we are getting that high pressure system from the west coming our way, bringing us more cloudless skies, nice temperatures. It's going to be in the 90s, but not like 97 last week, breaking records. You can see that low pressure system behind Denver, though. That's going to be bringing that snow, like I talked about earlier in the show, to Denver on Thursday. But for our next 24 hours, it's going to be pretty persistent to what it was today. You can see some of those clouds that we had in our area. Nothing too crazy. We could get a few shower chances tomorrow, but it's probably not as likely. It's going to be pretty much like today. But for tonight, what you can expect is 70, and those temperatures are going to be dropping at night into the 60s, making it feel a lot more like fall at night. And it's going to be partly cloudy. Going to be a great night to take your dog on a walk. Do it, make your dog happy. But for class tomorrow, it's going to be waking up at 71, noon 85, 4 p.m. 91, layers, layers, layers. And that 7-day, tomorrow, like I said, get a storm chance possible, and that high is going to be 89. 90s, 89, and you could take a look at those lows, though. We're dipping into the 60s, which is awesome at night because we're going to be cooling off throughout the week at night, which makes it feel a lot more like fall. Right, Jonathan?
Yeah, so I'm certainly looking forward more to those fall-like temperatures, so by the time I get to class, I'm not soaked in sweat and, just, you're feeling miserable. You don't really want to sit through an entire class after feeling like you just got out of a sauna.
Yeah,
right?
Today was probably the first day where I didn't feel like that, honestly.
Yeah.
I did that power walk to the Love Building, and I wasn't dripping in sweat today.
We have to hike up that hill to get to this building,
Oh, gosh,
right? Yeah.
and then the 3 floors.
Yeah.
I wasn't dripping in sweat today. The people behind me in class were probably really happy
Making
about
progress.
that.
We're making progress there.
But
so.
it is starting to feel a little bit more like fall at the night time of the day, honestly. So we're getting there, okay?
Yeah, so
we're making progress.
eventually those leaves will turn colors. Maybe. Eventually we'll get there.
Hopefully, but yeah, if we take a look at that 7-day again, we can see tonight is probably our last night with those higher temperatures at night.
Yes.
And then we can see is that Friday?
It's Friday into Saturday, yeah. It's going to dip down to 64. Which
that's going to feel nice.
That's probably the coldest temperature we've had here in maybe a few months.
You may be a little
since,
chilly.
April at some
Maybe
point.
a sweatshirt.
Yeah.
What is that? Crazy. I haven't seen one of those in so long. But yeah, that is probably one of our coldest temperatures we've seen in a long time. So enjoy it. Go out and go to Cascades. I love Cascades. Great place to walk with a friend at night, of course.
And while it's still warm and while we're still on the brink, the edge of summer into fall, definitely we do have an away game this weekend. So maybe go ahead and go check out the beach later.
Yes, or support your team in Clemson. If you have the guts to do that,
yeah.
I don't know.
We'll see how that game goes. So go ahead and follow us on Twitter at FSU Weather.
Yes, follow us on Twitter and also like us on Facebook. We'll post some cool stuff on there a lot of times. Do it.
And you can always watch us live on YouTube at FSU Weather as well.
Hopefully you're watching us now. And follow us on Instagram. Send us your cool pictures. Cool sunset pictures. The one tonight, I bet it's going to be beautiful.
Yeah, go ahead and see if you can get a picture on our show from that. So I'm student meteorologist Jonathan Marcus.
And I'm student meteorologist Ariana Goldstein.
And have a great night.